Dancing for money. Now, of course, I know to any normal person, this is probably something that sounds taboo, it sounds unusual. But what if I told you that in my culture, dancing for money is actually a norm? It is not as crude as it sounds, though, I promise you. This so called money dance is actually called a taolunga in Samoan or a taolunga in Tongan. They sound exactly the same, but I promise you there is a emphasis on one of those vowels in there. This dance is very culturally significant and represents a lot within the Polynesian islands. And there are several factors that come into play and make up the significance of these dances, being what the dances are used for, who performs them, the attire, and what dance means to the women of the culture. I hope through this I can expand your knowledge of the cultural dances of the Polynesian islands and along the way also show you that it is more than just a money dance. Now, first off, who performs these dances? Why? When are they performed? And where does money come into this? Well, in the Samoan culture, the taulunga back then was only reserved for those of higher ranking in the village, that being the high chief. Now, this is a dance for women, so the high chief is obviously not performing this. His daughter is, the taupo, high chief's daughter. She is chosen to represent her family and her village to visitors, especially in the cases of special events. The taupo would dance to choral music with the accompaniment of simple percussion to close out ceremonies, rituals, and other festivities. It is truly the apex of the event. In the Tongan culture, though, the tauolunga is actually derived from the Samoan taulunga, though Tongans use it in a different way. The taolunga is actually reserved for maidens. In the olden days, this was a dance that young bachelorettes would use to showcase their grace in hopes of catching attentions of any potential suitors. Unlike the Samoan taolunga, though, no matter the social standing, anybody can do this dance. The taolunga was performed for ceremonies and rituals as well, along with the same or similar music. Now, this is a dance of life, or is considered to be the dance of life, and is meant to help lift all occasions. Nowadays, anyone can do this dance and perform them for graduations, birthdays, weddings, and other lively celebrations. And I'm sure you are wondering, well, where's the money in this? Where's the money? Well, to lafo, or to throw money, was actually more recent inclusion with the dancing in recent decades, actually. And it's meant to acknowledge the skill of the dancer as well as to honor her. And often, girls leave the dance with hundreds of dollars from those in attendance afterwards. Now, although we don't use the dances in the same way that we would back on the islands, it is still important to us Polynesians to keep our traditions alive. Which leads me to another part that we find important to preserve within our culture, our attire. Now, before I continue, I will show you a small clip of actually me dancing a Samoan taulunga, in which you can take in the atmosphere, my attire, as well as what a typical taulunga would actually look like. Here you go. The attire in these dances are symbols of our culture. They carry core parts of our ancestors while also showcasing the beauty and the grace of those who are dancing. Now, starting off with these markings on my face, which I hope you found to be recognizable in the video, this is actually called Vailonga in Samoan. It's supposed to be reminiscent of our warrior days. Obviously, those days are long and over with, but us as Samoans in the present day still like to be adorned with these war paints to pay homage to our ancestors who came before us and fought for us. In the Tongan culture, though, Tongans don't paint their faces. In fact, I would say the most notable part of the appearance of whoever is dancing the taulunga for Tongans is actually the lolotonga, or the oiled up body of whoever is dancing. As said previously, Tongans reserve this dance for maidens, and the oil is actually supposed to help symbolize a girl's virginity. It was said that if your oil dried up during the duration of your dance, that it would expose the fact that you were not a true maiden, which is kind of scary to think about. But on the plus side, the oil is also supposed to help increase and contribute to a girl's beauty at the same time. Something which I hope you saw immediately was on my head, the tuinga fafau. Fafau being to build up or forge, and tuinga meaning crown. Now, I have it with me here. It's a traditional headpiece that we wear during the taulungas, and the name itself tells you exactly how it's made, to build up a crown. Back then, it would take multiple pieces to make this separately, as opposed to just one. Back then, it would take 3 to 5 pieces all stacked upon one another. And the only way it would be able to be held together was to be pinned down tightly on the taupo's hair bun, which is kind of hard. All these different pieces stacked upon one another would force the taupo to dance with extreme grace and balance as to not let the tuinga fall off her head. But one of the most important parts of any tuinga is actually the laulu, or the hair. This is not real hair, but a traditional tuinga is actually supposed to have real hair from a previous family member or ancestor. This hair would be cut and passed down to pass on the mana or spiritual power to from previous ancestors to future generations when they carried out their duties as taubos. Now, as a taubo or as a woman in general, dancing the taulungas, it is a great honor, but also a great responsibility. And it represents many things within being a woman of the Polynesian culture. This dance highlights more than just status and carries more weight than it lets on. To be a Polynesian woman is to be a protector of your family, to have courage and strength, and to do all these things with of the utmost grace, humility, and balance, and that's exactly what these dances represent. The Taulunga is one of the most important parts of an entire event. It is the apex. It signifies conclusions of festivities, and no important occasion is complete without it. And that's why there is so much pressure with it, to do it right and to do it with absolute grace and pride at the same time. This dance is one of my ancestors, one that many generations of grandmothers, mothers, and aunts have all done before me. This dance was and is used to tell and pass down stories from the past to the future. And to do it now is an ode to those who came before me, but also to future generations after me. The Taulunga and Tauolunga roots us in our heritage and those who came before us. It is truly a vital part in the Polynesian culture. To conclude, these dances are critical parts in Polynesian culture and truly is a representation of what it is to be a Polynesian woman. It surpasses materialistic aspects of money with what it means, what it pays homage to, and the symbolism of all the elements in it. These dances are more than money. These dances are me. These dances are my ancestors. These dances are what it means to be someone in Tongan.